Officer, if you could notify the pathologist. I don't like the look of this one at all.
Will do. And D.I. Kiesel's on his way.
Something for us all to look forward to.
It doesn't make any sense. One minute we were just having a drink and then it just... Oh no, sir.
We'll need to contact her.
What are you gonna tell her? She's at some stupid telenight at the village pub.
Don't worry, we'll get somebody down there right away.
Yeah.
Soon you sort it out. Come on, Mrs. Tate. Let's get you sat down.
Dr. Dolan, we must stop meeting like this.
Your lines don't get any better with age, Detective Inspector Kiesel.
What we got?
The deceased, 39-year-old paraplegic male, collapsed and suffered convulsions immediately after drinking champagne. According to his wife, death almost instantaneous. Wife drank from the same bottle, she was unaffected.
No visible abrasions, lesions, injuries?
Well, you have to wait for the pathologist to do her stuff, but nothing obvious.
What do you reckon?
For ruling out natural causes. First off, he could have ingested some sort of toxin.
I'll be able to tell you more when I've analysed the contents.
Well, you know me better than that, Dr. Dolan. You're among friends. Natural causes or toxin?
Don't quote me, but I strongly suspect we're looking at the latter.
So, as far as you were concerned, you were coming out to a domestic?
Deceased made a call, said his missus was threatening him again. And she wasn't expecting to see us. Didn't even know he'd called us out. And by the state of the place, looks like they've been rowing.
Where is she now?
Up next door. Oh, it's massive, this place. Need a map and a compass to find the bog.
Think we'd better go and offer our condolences, don't you?
I ran into him yesterday in the village. He asked me over tonight. I thought it might be a chance to settle our differences.
He asked you over?
We're not living together at the moment. We'd split up, okay? But we were still talking. We'd have worked it out.
Yeah, if you could go back to what happened when you arrived here tonight.
He was acting so weird. One minute we were talking, we wanted to sort things out, and the next he just started slacking me off. I went to grab my stuff to leave, and he offered me a drink. And then he changed again, and he told me how much he hated me, and he was really starting to scare me.
You mean he attacked you?
No. No, but he was so aggressive. I thought for a minute he could have killed me, but then he just had a drink and sort of collapsed and just started jerking about on the floor. I rang for an ambulance, but it was too late. He'd gone.
He told you he hated you?
That's what I just said.
So you'd say relationships between you weren't at their best?
What do you think?
Would it be fair to say you were having a row?
I didn't want to. I didn't want an argument.
Looks like you had one, though. There's broken china all over the hall. Do you know how that happened, Mrs. Tate?
I went to the doctor the other day. I said, Doctor, I think I'm a dog. He said, get on the couch. I said, I'm not allowed on the couch.
Actually, please make them. I don't think I can take much more of this.
Shockingly bad. And now I take you back to Robert L'Espère, who I sense is poised to emerge. Come on, then. So, who ordered the strippogram? I'm all yours, officer. Handcuff me now. Careful with your truncheon. Come on. You're far too attractive to be a real copper.
Jean, please not Jean.
Hello, Zoe. I'd like a word. I think we'd better take it outside.
Nothing's happened to my daughter.
Please.
Ashley.
Could you take over for me, please?
Oh, yes, of course. Where are you going?
Oh, looks like trouble. Zoe's not very good at trouble.
Did anyone hear the one about the stripper and the bucket of sand?
I'm really very sorry.
It can't be. I just saw it this afternoon. There must be some sort of mistake.
His wife's identified the body. I'm so sorry.
Chris, dead. No.
He's really gone.
Do you think we can get her home?
It's this way.
I'm so sorry.
Better see what can do.
Look, I'll come with you.
No. Not in your condition. You stay with the others. I said it'd be trouble.
Why? Are you asking me all this stuff? What are these people doing in my house?
I'm sorry, Mrs. Tate. We'll make this as quick as we can. If you could just go back to the moment when your husband collapsed.
He was twitching and convulsing. It was awful. And then, when I bent down to check his pulse, there was this horrible smell.
Can you describe it?
It's like nail polish or marzipan. I can't get it out of my head. The way he looked at me just before he drank it, the way he told me he wanted to make me some. He even said he wanted me to kill him, and I thought, well, why would he want that unless he knew? He must have planned it. He must have done it to himself.
You're suggesting your husband committed suicide?
Try to take a sip at least.
When did you last see your brother?
Are these questions really necessary?
I'm sorry, but I've got to ask them.
You're not suggesting there was anything untoward about his death?
If we could just answer the question, Miss Tate. When did you last see your brother?
This afternoon. He was sitting just there. We'd been to see Joseph, his son, at school. He was so proud of him, he's got a part in the school play. And he was holding Jean.
Did he mention any particular worries or anxieties to you?
He was concerned about his illness. He has an inoperable brain tumour, and he was anxious about what would happen to us when he was gone, but I just put it down to Crispin Ward, and I had no idea that the cancer was so advanced.
Could you let D.I. Kiesel know?
I thought we had months left. How was I to know that it could spread so quickly? How was I to know?
So tell me, Mrs. Tate, did your husband have any particular problems that you were aware of?
No. Sometimes got a bit depressed about his chair, but he would soon shake that off.
So there were no money worries or business concerns?
Not that I knew of, no.
Were you aware that your husband had an incurable brain tumour?
Brain tumour? What, Chris? Don't be daft.
His sister's just given a statement. Only a few months left, according to her.
If my husband had been terminally ill, do you not think he might have told me about it?
Any idea why he didn't?
But he's so young. It's a tragedy. God rest his soul.
Betty, was it an accident or what?
Well, actually, he's not been very well. He had a brain tumour.
Oh,
I don't believe it.
Debbie never mentioned anything.
He didn't want people to know, so he just told his sister and Terry.
Poor Zoe. He's all she had left.
To lose a dad and then a brother like that. Oh, God only knows what it'll do to her state of mind.
I can't believe it. I'm going round.
Look, she's with the police. I'd leave it if I were you.
I need a drink.
Count me in, love. I've lost my appetite for light entertainment.
Ladies and gentlemen, better late than never!
That was dead good, that.
Maybe he did top himself. He knew he was terminally ill. Wife's just told us they're having marital troubles. It's a possibility.
But does that sound like the actions of a man who called us minutes before, terrified his wife's going to attack him? And funny enough, she's at the scene when we arrive, along with evidence someone's been chucking the best china around.
But if it was murder, why didn't she just leg it? Why bother calling an ambulance?
Maybe she realised she'd be in the frame. Well, she might have known about the emergency call to us. It could be an attempt to cover her tracks. So do we pull her in?
Well, she had a motive. Said they'd split up. Perhaps she didn't fancy coming off worse than a divorce. I mean, would you want to give this up?
She had the opportunity. Notice how quick she was to flag up the suicide theory.
But she never mentioned the tumour. What's she playing at? Maybe we should pull her in and find out.
I'll have a double whiskey, please, Diane.
Marmor in his prime. It was all so sudden. One minute he's there, next minute he's gone.
Timely reflection on our mortality. You never know the hour or the day.
There must be something about that house. Anyone who's ever lived there's come to a sticky end.
Well, apart from Kim, we only thought she was dead.
And there was poor Dave Glover burnt to a crisp, God rest him. And young Linda, she'd still be alive today if she hadn't started messing with folk from Big House.
Yeah, but they saved the best till last, didn't they? Well, in the end, he got what he deserved. Don't know about you, but it's made my day.
Hey, you want to watch your mouth?
Yeah, we'll have less of that. Best not speak ill of the dead.
Why? When most of you hated him when he was alive. You know, you lot got short memories, haven't you? There's not one person here who hasn't crossed Chris Tate. He was a miserable swine. He was near the end of me. But look who's laughing now, eh? Cheers.
I should have kept him here. I should have insisted. If he'd been here, at least he wouldn't have been alone. No one deserves to die alone.
He wasn't at the end. He was with his wife, Mrs. Tate.
What the hell was he doing with Charity?
I presume because it's her home.
And she don't live there.
They'd split up. They hated each other, didn't they, Terry?
The relationship with Paul, yeah.
But things were so bad that he was divorcing her. Just this afternoon, he made me promise that if anything happened to him, that I wasn't to let Charity get a penny of his estate. What was she doing there? What's been going on?
He always had this huge chip on his shoulder. Always felt he had to prove he was better than anyone else.
Driven, somehow. There were days you could hardly get a civil word out of him. He'd just grunt and glare at you.
He was never happy in his own skin, was he? Never satisfied with all he had.
Lethal if you crossed him.
Yeah? And who hasn't, over the years?
It's like the end of an era, isn't it?
And he owned half the village and employed the other half. Could be the end of the road for the estate. I can't see Charity having the nous to keep it going.
Ah, but if she does, she'll be a very wealthy widow and, I suspect, quite alluring in black.
Not much of an epitaph, is it, for a life? 10 minutes dead and all you can manage to talk about is how much he's worth.
Right, here we go. I'll leave you in the capable hands of Detective Sergeant Pugh.
I thought you wanted to interview me.
When you've cleared forensics.
Forensics? I thought you just wanted a statement.
If you just come through with me and take your clothing off piece by piece.
You're not serious.
We'll need to bag every item separately for forensic examination. That includes your underwear too, I'm afraid. Don't worry, we'll give you something to keep you decent.
What are you doing this for? Chris has done something to himself. It's nothing to do with me.
Routine investigation. We have to rule everything out, I'm afraid. But we'll try and make the process as painless for you as possible.
Why won't you tell me? What's Charity done to him?
We're not saying Mrs. Tate's done anything.
So it was the tumour, then?
Can't you give us something, at least?
I mean, here's a brother we're talking about, not some bloke off the street.
What are you doing?
Going home. Going to see my brother, going to see what she's done to him.
I'd strongly advise against it. You won't be allowed access until forensics have finished the investigation.
So we're talking criminal investigation?
I want to see him. I want to see my brother. How can I leave him like this? He needs me. He needs me there with him.
We'll arrange that as soon as we can.
And why should I believe you? Why should I believe my brother's dead when you won't even let me see the body? Why? Why?
Zoe, you got to believe her. The officer's telling the truth.
Well, I can't believe it. I won't believe it, not until I've seen him.
What happened next?
poured me a drink.
Did you see him pour his own?
I suppose he must have done. I can't remember.
Then you had another chat?
Yes.
How would you best describe your husband's state of mind at this time?
He was very calm. He was almost enjoying telling me how much he wanted to make me suffer. Before he took whatever it was that he took, he told me how much he hated me. He said that killing me would be too easy. So he killed himself. And I mean, what would he have to lose? He obviously knew he only had a few weeks left. So typical of Chris. Didn't want anyone's pity, especially mine. So the little swine made me grovel. Tell him how much I wanted him back, and all along he knew what he was gonna do. I never had the chance to even say goodbye.
So, Mrs. Tate, if you could go back to the moment where he handed you your glass.
Mr. Tate were always good to me. Could have sent me dad to prison once, but he never.
Oh, hey, it's like one of them TV police dramas up there. They've got police cordons, coppers all over the place. Now they've sent them forensic fellas in, so, well, I think we all know what that means.
Another victim for the House of Horrors.
But who'd want to murder him?
Well, I think you'd be better off asking who wouldn't.
Look, whatever's happened, we'll find out soon enough. I, for one, am sorry he's gone. And I think we all know now that he has gone, nothing's going to be the same again. So let's just take a moment and raise a glass to Chris Tate. I hope wherever he is, he's found peace. To Chris.
Chris
Tate.
Chris. You know where I am if you need me. Anytime.
Thank you, Terry.
Anytime. You look after the woman.
God bless.
That's all I have. All I have left in the world. This tiny creature. All I have.
You have your friends. You have me.
Oh, he sat in here, Ashley. He begged me. He pleaded with me to listen, and I didn't hear, and I just let him go home on his own. And I should never have let him go. If I hadn't let him go, he'd be here, not there with her. What did I do him, Ashley?
I don't know.
I want him here. I want to put my arms around him. Hear him tell me everything's gonna be all right. Oh, Ashley, I want my brother. I want my brother here. He's safe. I want Chris.
Well, thank you, Mrs. Tate. Oh, one last thing. Is there anyone who can corroborate what you've just told us?
Corroborate what you're on about?
Anyone who saw you arrive at Home Farm? Someone you passed on the way? Any staff in the building?
No. No one. But it happened like I said. Why would I lie to you?
Thanks for your time, Mrs. Tate. If you'd like to wait here, one of our cars will drive you back home.
And what about my clothes?
Yeah, an officer's bringing you some things. Oh, good night, Mrs. Tate. And once again, our sympathies on your very sad loss.
Take care of yourself, Charity.